Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Fat Loss in 15. Today's going to be a short one. And normally when we do this, we normally focus on the mindset, the managing the expectations, stories, and just getting your head around the stuff to get your head in the right place to actually achieve the goal. But today we're going to take a bit of a different approach. And I typically don't do this too much because all this information can be found everywhere. All you need is a quick Google search, type it into ChatGPT. But one thing that I deeply believe, and even a few of our clients have said this as well, is you can get all the information you want off of Google, but being able to apply it is a whole different ballgame, and you need that support structure, you need that accountability to make it happen. But what I'm going to do is I've cherry picked 5 things that you really need to focus on to get yourself in shape. If you want to lose £10 in the next 30 days, follow this exact structure and it will happen. So let's just dive right in. And number 1 is eat more carbs. If you're not eating enough carbs, your recovery is going to be terrible, so you're going to be sore all the time. Your performance in the gym is going to suffer, so you're not going to be building that muscle or actually burning the calories because you've not got the energy to do it, and you're just going to feel rubbish, and you're probably going to have some sort of craving, which is then going to lead to a wee bit more of a binge. So let's flip that on its head, where we try and go low carbs, low carbs, low carbs all the time, and actually allow yourself a bit of freedom with what you're eating. Eat some carbs before your workout, eat some carbs after your workout. Perform amazingly well in the gym, build that muscle, which will help you strip away the fat and feel good in your own body, and sticking to your fitness journey becomes a hell of a lot easier. Number 2, you've got to prioritize your sleep over your training. I always say to people, you can sleep your way to fat loss. If you're focusing on your sleep, everything else gets 10 times easier, because this reflects back to what we said number 1 about the carbs. If you're sleeping well, you have more energy, so you perform better in the gym. You're more likely to do all the stuff like the food prep, the steps, the actual going to the gym itself. When you're sleeping better, your cortisol or your stress hormone drops right down, so your body can actually burn fat, because if you're not sleeping well and your cortisol level's high, your body doesn't actually burn fat. What else? Your hunger hormone, your leptin, when you're underslept or tired, your hunger hormone spikes, so you're going to have all these food cravings, which makes sticking to a diet even harder, or sticking to calorie deficit, should I say. So if you sleep well, we get rid of all these issues right from the get-go. You're going to have more performance, your body's going to be working better, and you're going to enjoy it more. Again, it always comes back down to enjoyment and what you can stick to. Number 3, and this is a really important one, forget how you're feeling, just do it anyway. You've got to accept that there's going to be good days, you've got to accept there's going to be bad days, and you've got to accept there's days that are going to feel like meh. A few weeks ago, which I spoke about on last week's podcast, or episode, sorry, I spoke about how my marathon training, which the marathon should be done by the time this comes out, was feeling really bad. I was really struggling, and I was very close after a really bad 4K run that was meant to be 14K. I was about ready to chuck it in the bin. Luckily, that exact same day, this post came up on Instagram, and it was from an Olympian, and she was talking about the rule of thirds. And this was something that she got passed on from her psychological or mental, sports psychologist, that's what it is. 1/3 of the times, your journey's going to feel great. 1/3 of the times, it's going to feel meh, it's going to feel completely average, and 1/3 of the time, it's going to feel dreadful, and you're going to want to give up. If you're sticking to that sort of ratio, you're doing really well, and you just stick to it. If your days are feeling too good, you're probably not pushing yourself quite hard enough. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I butchered that a wee bit. Number 4, track the data like a scientist. And this is something that I think so many people do wrong. They just eyeball things, they guess what they're actually doing. And from my experience of coaching for a decade, is the simple act of tracking the data without trying to change anything else. I've seen people lose £10 in a month by simply tracking, because it brings an awareness to the problem and it highlights where the issues are. It also means that we're not focusing on our emotions, because if you get too emotional around the whole thing, which happens when you're just eyeballing things, when you're just guessing, you're not actually, your emotions lead you astray, they lead you wrong. But if you've got the data, for example, let's use weighing yourself every day, And that's going to spike up and down, spike up and down. But as long as it's trending down the way, we're great. We know what we're doing is working. But if you're just listening to your emotions, you're tracking it maybe once a week. I've seen people track at week 1 and they've hit a really low number because they were dehydrated, they didn't eat last night, they weighed a little bit later in the day and they've been fasting for a bit longer, so the weight is really low. And then they have a really good week where they do everything on point, but on the Sunday night they have a big meal that's full of carbs, full of salt, they have quite a lot of water, and they weigh themselves a bit earlier in the morning and they weigh more than what they did the previous Monday, even though they've had a week. But if they'd weighed every day, what they would have seen is the weight's actually trending down. They've just got 2 data points that are completely irrelevant of each other, and it gives you a false view of what is actually happening. So we need to make sure we're tracking the data, we're ignoring our emotions, we're leaning into what the data says, and we just keep going no matter how we feel. And number 5, and this is again another biggie, and this is something that I say to every single client we ever take on, the big separator between those who get results and those who don't get results is the ability to get back on plan quickly. Okay, successful people don't not mess up. Successful people also mess up. They also fail, but what they do is they get back on plan quickly. Unsuccessful people, when they mess up, when something happens, when life rears its ugly head, which it is going to do, something's going to happen at work, your kids are going to get sick, you're going to get stuck in traffic, and it's going to throw you off plan. Okay, unsuccessful people see that as a failure and give up. Successful people get back on plan quickly. And that's why one of the biggest factors of why our program works so well is because you have the 3 layers of accountability instead of the 1 layer. And I'm just going to talk you through how this works, just because I feel it's very relevant at the moment. So layer number 1 of accountability is your self-accountability, and that is doing what you said you were going to do. But when life gets stressful, as I just said, you're going to get thrown off. And if you're just depending on yourself, and this will resonate with a lot of people, because I know it does, because every single call I talk about this and it resonates with everyone, when life throws you off, it's so easy for that 1 bad day to turn into 3 bad days, to turn into a week off. And before you know it, you're 6 months down the line and you've actually moved further away from your goals than you were when you first started. And that in itself can be so disheartening. So what we do is we add in layer number 2. And that is the accountability to your coach. And the coach's main goal is to give you that little shove, to pick you up, to be that little voice on your shoulder, getting you back on plan when life throws you off. So that 1 day just stays as 1 bad day. So you can get back on plan as quickly as possible. And then we've got layer number 3, which is your social accountability. We always say this is the accountability to the coaches, and not to the coaches, to the training partners and to the friends that you make in our community gym. And that is one of the biggest and most important parts of our program, is not only having your success coach, but having those people on the same journey as you, who are further along, who can inspire you, to show you it's possible, which makes you more confident in your journey, but to hold you to a higher standard and make you want to come. Because when you're just letting yourself down, it's so easy just to drive past the gym and go, I'll go tomorrow, and then 6 months go by. But when you're letting down your coach, that doesn't want to happen, because you don't want to let them down. But when you've got training partners and friends in the gym who are wanting to see you and you want to see them, you're going to go. You're going to know that you're going to go to the gym, decompress, de-stress, and feel better when you leave. And when you have those 3 layers compared to the 1, being consistent enough for long enough to see the result you're looking for becomes so much easier, and your chances of it happening absolutely skyrocket. Okay, so that is the 5 things that you could do if you want to lose fat in the next, or 10 pounds of fat in the next 30 days. And number 1, eat more carbs, fuel your workouts, not starve yourself. Number 2, prioritize your sleeping so your body can perform and feel at its best. Number 3, forget how you feel, ignore your emotions, do it when you feel shit. Remember the rule of thirds. Number 4, track all the data so you don't have to depend on your emotions, and you have clear evidence that what you're doing is working, and you've got clear evidence of what you need to change if it's not working. And number 5, shorten the time you spend off plan. And if that means hiring a coach, reaching out, joining our program, or just getting yourself a training and accountability buddy, that's exactly what you need to do. So if you need help, please reach out. Let's have a chat. We've got some coaching spaces opened up in May. Might be after May when you're listening to this, but please reach out. Let's ask for help. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon.